Bienvenue and welcome to Quoi Trek, which I'm going to, I'm going to try and record an entire episode of classic Star Trek, which I have watched for the first time in French with French subtitles, but also I've never watched the episode before. In full, I might have somewhere heard a part or sort of a retelling of it, maybe a review, but I totally have not remembered any of it. I've not kept any of it in my mind. That said, let's just start with today's episode, and we have a time of 5 minutes. A piece of the action. A piece of the action starts with the Enterprise, as always, getting a hail, and I have no idea from whom or who's summoning them, but they agree to beam down on the planet, where they discuss before they beam down, they discuss the fact that it's sort of like an industrial age thing, like the 1920s. And yes, it turns out there's sort of a planet that is based upon the 1920s. They beam down, and one of the things that Spock remarks upon, I think it's Spock, is that basically everybody is carrying a Tommy gun. As they are being held at gunpoint and being brought in front, or rather to a mafiosi boss whose name I don't remember. I just know the other dude is named Jojo, because that's a reference. That's a JoJo reference. Shut it. No. But, yeah, this dude is one of the two big mafiosi bosses of the territory, of this city, this Chicago-esque thing, and I'm not talking about the musical, I'm talking about the city. As they are being captured, they are talking a bit back and forth, something about the technology they have, and something about how violent everything is, I believe. And then they discover that this mafiosi has a book, and it's sort of like a book that was written in the 90s, obviously the 60s version of the 90s, and it's all about gangster culture, and it's sort of like the Bible of this planet. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a whole planet that's mafiosi style, like 1920s mob, gunning everything down style, or it's just like a city. I didn't quite catch that one. But as it is, all these people have based their lives upon this very book. And they're still being held prisoner, basically, by this mob guy, this sleazy mafioso. And then, I don't even know what happened exactly. They escape, but Kirk then gets taken prisoner by a dude from the other gang. There's another dude, as I previously mentioned, his name is Jojo, and they take him prisoner too, and then they bring him to their boss, and something, I'm not quite sure what exactly is happening there. I just know that one of the mafiosi guys takes the communicator and talks to the Enterprise, and I'm not sure what exactly happened story-wise in between. Something about Kirk and trying to persuade some of the gang leaders into making an agreement with the Federation, I think. And he assures them that they're getting a cut of 40% of all the profits. I'm not sure which profits, so just some profits. Not profits as in money, not the holy people of some religions. And that's a bit odd. In a very funny scene that has nothing to do with me having problems understanding it, Kirk tries to drive a car, and it just starts stopping the whole thing all the ride through, which is immensely hilarious. But as it is, and they beam up the Jojo mafia boss, and I'm not sure why exactly they did this, because that is then starting a gang war, which then has to be resolved at the end of the episode, with the Enterprise firing a non-lethal phaser down, which seems like an act of God in comparison if you really think about it. I'm not even sure what the moral at the end of the episode was supposed to be. And honestly, I'm really not sure. Some joke at the end of the episode, as there's always a joke at the end of the episode, but I could not for the life of me understand it because it was way too quick. And there's something about Spock saying correct, which, like, that's exactly what he says, even in the French version, even though the subtitles say something completely different. So basically, in essence, they stopped this gang war by interference of the Enterprise, and that's it. I'm not sure what moral we were supposed to take from this, because the gang war couldn't be stopped by some sort of clever scheme hatched by Captain Kirk or anything. So, yeah. And that's my review of my Quoi Trek review of a piece of the action. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another one of these. It seemed very chaotic. I was really fucking nervous because I was under a time limit. And I got the basic gist of the story. A few sort of kind of jokes, not 100% sure if I understood them correctly. And understanding it audio-wise, as if in really understanding what every character is saying, and I went against zero. I had to read the subtitles, which were also in French, but they were different from what the people were actually saying. Like, the correct thing. Spock doesn't say correct in the subtitles, he says c'est vrai, or just vrai, as if in true. So, yeah. The word that I take from this episode is ici, or it's pronounced differently. Ici, presumably as if in here. Written ICI. And it's a pretty simple word, but it's a word that, you know, why not? Why not take this one from this episode? Next time, I don't have a clue, but if any of you are actually interested in this and have a suggestion to make, mind you, I have seen basically all of Star Trek The Next Generation. Actually, no, I haven't. I've still got a few open episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. And, but most, if not all, of the classic Star Trek episodes I haven't seen yet. So if you want to suggest something, I'll be 100% open to it. I've seen all of DS9, so that's out of the question. I've seen Discovery, I've seen Enterprise, although I don't remember all the episodes from Enterprise, so yeah. I believe it would be funniest if I just stay with the classic series, so if any of you want to suggest an episode where you think my style of retelling it in such a really half-assed and incomprehensible way would be funny, I mean, go ahead and leave a comment. If not, that's also perfectly fine. With that said, beyond it, fuck, I can't pronounce it for the life of me. Arua. Let's just go with Arua. And let's not hit the record button so that it actually ends where I want it to end. Let's just